Hey everyone, so today we're going to try this Picot style of edging. I am using 11.0 size red beads, and then I'm also using these black beads that I got from Walmart. I know for this style a lot of people like to use bicones, but it's really whatever you want to do. To start, you're going to go ahead and thread your needle, tie your knots in the end, and then you're just going to poke through the backing. You don't want to go through your felt or your pellin, you just want to go through your backing. So go ahead and stab that through and then pull all the way down until your knot hits the edge. And if you have any threads from your knot sticking out, go ahead and tuck those in. So to start, you want 3 beads. So I'm going to go a little red bead, a black bead, and then another red bead. Once you have those 3 on there, you're going to go ahead and slide them all the way down to where your backing starts. And then you're going to kind of lay them flat and see where you want that last red bead to sit. You kind of want to go through where the middle of the bead would be. So I stab through the felt and the backing right through there and pull it all the way through. So once it's pulled all the way through, you're going to notice that your string, sorry, I got a little knot here. Whenever people are talking about, oh, you're going to go through the bottom of the bead or whatever, and you're like, well, I don't know what the bottom means. It's where the thread is going down from the bead into the felt. And so you're just going to do the reverse. You're going to go up from that area. So I go up from the bottom. So you can kind of see what that looks like. And then you just pull it all the way through. And you only do that to the last bead. So I'm going to pull it kind of tight, make sure it's sitting how I want it. And so after that very first time down, you only have to do 2 beads. So you go a black bead and then 1 red bead. So then you can see here again, I lay them flat, I measure them, and I figure out where the middle of that red bead would be. And then I stab through both my felt and my backing. So you can see right there, I kind of push that last row of beads over a little bit with my needle. So that way, it kind of hides where my stitches are. You can't really see it as well. So then once you're all the way through, again, we're going up through the bottom and then pulling all the way through. And now you don't have to measure it that way every time, especially like as you get better with this style of edging, you can kind of just guesstimate where you think it would be. So like here you can see that typically every 4 black beads is where I have to put my needle down. So I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can put my needle there. So that's another way of measuring it. And then you can just kind of eyeball it too. It's just whatever works best for you. For me, typically I measure it at the beginning, just because I want to make sure it looks good. And then after that, I can just kind of eyeball it and tell if they're even or not. But it's just whatever works for you. So there, and you just do this all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up, and then we'll talk about how to finish it.
What's another night all alone when you're spending every day on your own? And here it goes. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. I'm just a kid, I know that it's not fair. Nobody cares 'cause I'm alone and the world is having more fun than me tonight.
So now we are almost at the end here. So I'm going to go ahead and do my last 2 Picot stitches here, and then I'll show you how to end it. Sometimes, especially when you get to the end, you're really going to have to pay attention and see if you have enough room or too much room for that final bead. And then sometimes you'll have to kind of squish your last 2 stitches, or you'll have to stretch them out, so that way it fits the way that you want it to. So that's something you want to keep in mind, you know, before the very last stitch. You kind of want to think of it like 2 or 3 stitches ahead of that, and just make sure that you get the spacing right. So now I am ready to go ahead and add on my final bead. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my last black bead here, and then we're actually going to go from the top down. Usually we go from the bottom up, but for this final bead, you're going to go from the top down. So I go just through like that, and then I actually want my needle on this side, so I'm just going to push it through there. So go ahead and pull your thread all the way through until that last bead sits right in between your two red beads. Okay, so then here, some people would tie a knot in their thread and cut it. I actually don't like the way that knots look in my beadwork. It just bugs me. I don't like it. So what I actually do after I get that last bead in is I poke through where my thread's coming down right there. I poke my needle through the felt, and then instead of going straight out, I go at an angle. So you can kind of see here I'm going through that felt, going at an angle, and I'm trying to get my needle to pop up in between the backing and felt. So that's not where I want it, so I'm going to kind of adjust my grip and get it to pop up right there. So see, it's going between the felt and the backing, just like so. And I'm going to pull my needle all the way through here. Make sure it's nice and tight, and that last bead's not going to go anywhere. And so then I weave my way through the rest of it. So right here I poke through again, and I'm going between the felt and the backing, popping up somewhere over there, and then just pulling all the way through. And so I do this all the way around the earring twice. And so this kind of catches your thread in between your beadwork. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to unravel. And then once you're done, you can actually just clip your threads. So I'm going to go ahead and speed it up here as I work my way through all of this.
I'm just a kid, I know that it's not fair. Nobody cares, 'cause I'm alone and the world is having more fun than me tonight. And
So now we are at the end of our weaving. We've weaved all the way through, and now we're ready to go ahead and cut the thread. So you want to make sure when you cut it that you pull it really nice and tight, so that after it's cut, those threads kind of like bounce back into the beadwork and they're not sticking out anywhere funny. So yeah, there you go. That's what it looks like when it's all done. You can do this with the same size beads. You can do this with different size beads. It's just kind of whatever look you're going for. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.